players in Pro League at the time and absolutely trashed him 2-1. It was crazy.
It's because TY is not used to playing against the Protoss style, which is aggressive and assertive. And hopefully we'll see that out today, especially in these positions. Because down here in the bottom left is the red Protoss player that lives 45 minutes away from Cologne, did you know? It is MC. And that is via train, not via car. It's faster by car. And then up here, also living very close to Cologne on the ESL studios for WCS, it's YoDa.
They live together, right?
Yes, they live with First and Hyun. And the occasional guests like this week, Jaedong, and previous guests like MVP and others.
Wow, you are the man of knowledge. Is that so? There's only 4 players in that house, and then they have a guest every time.
There are 4 players all the time with a random 5th. Usually
nice.
That comes and goes, or maybe it's mostly 4 all the time, but there's usually a guest, depending on what the guest is up to.
So Waystation. Now this map has 2 possible game scenarios in which you have the big Waystation where they're very far apart. My voice just started changing randomly. Maybe it's because you looked at me funny, but or you have close positions like these are, which against a player like MC, I want to be as far away as possible, which YoDa is not. So immediately, I don't feel that comfortable if I'm YoDa.
No, I would not feel... If it was the other way around, I agree. I would feel better. But it's not the other way around. It's far from that.
Far, far from that, Sean. Far, far. So here, very early probe scout for MC. And these guys living together, they are practice partners. So they both know what each other are capable of. But here, would you... Well, I personally, I'd start hiding things for this match in particular, just in case it was going down. So anything that happens in practice, while MC may be absolutely dominating YoDa, those kind of things. I know Grubby in Warcraft 3, I practiced against him for weeks, and we were going to play at WCG. And we probably played a good 40 games. Then he did a strategy that he never did in any one of those 40 games, and absolutely wrecked me at the tournament. So those kind of things can happen.
Maybe that can happen here for YoDa for sure. But one thing's for certain is he knows MC's style. He knows MC's aggressive nature to end it early. So, I mean, going for Reaper early, it's a good addition. Not going 1 Barracks Command Center, which is not as good as the others, or Command Center first in itself, is just better. He's opened up with the best build possible to fight up against MC. Scouting, get that Reaper in there, get some info, get some intel.
Yeah, and here, scouting, gets to see it's just 1 gas, goes back to the expo, and we'll see it is against something extremely normal. And these kind of situations happen all the time in ladder, so shouldn't feel too nervy as of yet. His build order's going totally fine. Nothing could be messed up as of yet. Throws down a 2nd barracks. This is where builds can deviate and whatnot. Since against Todd, or against Wellmu even, we saw he went for that engineering bay for the fast upgrades and stuff, but here, going for the 2nd barracks. Yeah,
2nd barracks here. He could go up to 3, could start to take, or look towards going up towards tech, factory engineering bay. And we'll see where he does go. He's scouting absolutely everywhere here, and maybe in those practice games, MC was doing a couple of trickery moves with proxy structures up to the top left or top right of certain maps.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, what can that Reaper truly achieve? You get in the base, you get to see these throwing down a 2nd gas and stuff. You might as well check for that probe that could be hiding on the map at any point. It isn't, so YoDa's just being very, very cautious, very careful. It's not really affecting him negatively, so that's good. And I like the fact that he's being a little bit careful here.
Forge down pretty fast here for MC.
Wow.
Really fast.
So, do you think he's thinking that YoDa's going for that fast +1 engineering bay build and just looking to counteract that?
I don't think so. The way that I look at MC and have known him over the years, I don't think he really starts to counter build what you could be doing. He's a guy that says, no, I'm going to do this straight away.
He's going to dictate the pace of the game?
Yeah, that's the kind of player I think he is. So, oh, and he stops the scout. It's a good scout. I mean, good prevention of the scout.
Pretty decent scout, though. Got to see the robo, which is usually very indicative of, hey, I'm going to do something safe. I'm not going to throw anything at you like an Oracle or a Blink build or even DT. So YoDa can look at that and be like, whew, I've got a good 3 minutes where I'm not going to die. And that's always great. Always great.
It is always great, but remember this Forge kicking in and the armor upgrade already going. We could see an aggressive play from MC off this to hit with upgrade timings potentially here against what YoDa could or couldn't be doing. So we'll see how MC's going to play this up. He's just now finished with the robotics facility and the observer on the way. Remember, MC is the reigning WCS champion. He's playing against a player who, in the 2 seasons that MC reached the final and lost in the final, he was in Challenger. So it's a massive difference of scale between the two. But double gas has been taken by MC on the natural now, and he is starting to push his tech further with bringing in more gas. So we'll see where he goes.
We certainly will. And I mean, right now he's spending gas on observers, the armor upgrade, even getting a few stalks out and sentries. Not really going for any further tech here. So, oh, Twilight Council just say that. So, not opting to go straight for the Colossi after this Robo facility, just playing, oh, bam.
Nice scan.
It is a really nice scan, and we saw YoDa throwing out some scans in the series against Wilmu and Todd, which, displayed exactly what he was up against. But here, he's on the ball. He knows exactly what he's up against.
So if you are YoDa, you've just now seen the Robo inactive, the Forge and Twilight Council coming down. What are you first thinking? What's happening, and what are you going to start to do?
If I scanned what I saw, I'd think, okay, this is that kind of old school build where he's going for fast +2 armor, storm, and charge lots. And he gets blink, so it's completely not that. But
that's something that YoDa could be thinking, though, which is the important part with what you're saying.
Totally. So immediately, maybe MC was hoping for that and then changes his mind upon seeing the scout, just trying to stay one step ahead. So a few stalkers being warped in, just playing safe, has +1 armor way before his opponent has any upgrades. So
it's very interesting. He switched over to +1 attack as well, not even going into the deeper upgrades of +2. And he's starting to increase his stalker count. Plink's been added on. Immortal's being added in. What are you planning, MC?
Yeah, he's going for a bit of a robust army here. Not anything that I've really seen before from any other player. I mean, this army isn't very, very scary. Yes, he has an upgraded advantage, but it isn't a scary army. It immediately throws down a planetary nexus
I think, though, if he whoops in another round of stalkers, and if he catches some of this army, if it's being aggressive out the front or try and drops, picks them off, he has a powerful counter with Immortals in the mix, with 1/1 upgrades down already.
He certainly
YoDa's got to be careful, man. Against this, if you were map packing and could see everything, you are being way careful. You are not going anywhere near this Protoss base.
This kind of play from MC feels like very much so like counter-attack play. You rely on your opponent being more aggressive than he should be. I remember State was doing this a lot, where you get blink, and when your opponent does this kind of 10, 11-minute push-out, you can actually beat that army very easily, and a Templar Archives is dropped now, so... scans, sees the army, or sees the observer even, so he knows that MC sees what he's dealing with. And yeah, I believe MC's just waiting for YoDa to make a move, and then he's going to capitalize on it.
And he's got the Warp Prism in, which would push him across the other side of the map, harassment or attack. +2 armor coming in, so MC's understanding that this isn't happening, that YoDa isn't dedicating, he isn't overcommitting, and that is good play from YoDa not to do this, obviously, knowing that MC's ready to pounce. You think this puts YoDa in a better position now, going into this next part of the game, considering he hasn't lost any units?
Yeah, the fact that he didn't overcommit and run into a good 12 or 14 blink stalkers and lose everything, that's solid. And he's even making Widow Mines at this point in time, which is great against Charge Lot, Templar, Archon. Yes, there are observers on the map so we can see them, but that army tends to cluster itself, and you can do very well against it. Constantly scanning is YoDa, so he has to play very, very cautious. But looks like MC's just going for a third here.
Yes, he is, and that should, of course, start to push YoDa into taking his own third very, very shortly. But the Warp Prism's out. This definitely could have been assisting an assault, but the way the game's gone, and there's been a lot of scans used in this game. We're talking about maybe 4 or 5 scans already.
Yeah, for YoDa's games in particular against Protoss, I really wish there was a scan counter, because he's so scared. And he really is. And I think all this practice with MC kind of backfires a little bit just because of how crazy MC plays against him.
He is reading good into this game, though. He's got the Widow Mines coming out, as you say. He's got the Ghost Academy down. He's only got that single Viking, maybe anticipating a Warp Prism play, depending on how their practice goes, of course. If that's a tendency of MC's, it's a reason why there's just a single Viking out. And there is the Warp Prism, so...
Oh, I like how MC's doing this. He's going to use those Zealots to attack the third, maybe dropping the main 2 with the Warp Prism. Defending 2 locations at once is always pretty darn tricky, and great timing on this Warp Prism.
All right, drops in. Where are the other Zealots? They're going towards the third, so this is a good double drop, technically, coming out from MC. Beautiful move. He's getting quite a lot of these SCVs on the third as well. Not so much on the third, just inside the main. Not bad, 4 SCVs.
well handled by YoDa, to be very fair to him. Halves account, 60 SCVs against 53 probes. That's very good for a Terran. Upgrade-wise, he's catching up in upgrades on MC. So, you know, that attack did a little bit of damage, but YoDa handled himself very well. Scans again outside the natural. Doesn't see an army over there, but does see a probe move down to the third and sees the army come up from the third. So he knows there's a third in play and he knows what he's up against now.
YoDa's playing really good this game. He's definitely stepped it up coming into this series compared to the other ones. I mean, he's got a very good army against what MC has, especially with the Ghost being added in now.
It feels like he knows MC very well. Like the single Viking, given that he wasn't against Colossus, the single Viking against the Warp Prism dealt with the Warp Prism harass very well, split his army up to deflect both attacks. So it feels that he kind of knows MC's tricks.
Yes,
this
he
is a scary army,
does.
though.
And this is very dangerous for the boss toss. He's moving out with an inferior supply count, an inferior army composition overall, to be honest, now that Ghosts have been put in.
Those Immortals kind of wandered too far ahead there and immediately loses one of them.
And Good Storm protects the other Immortal. But so far, so good for YoDa. He's building up to a good army supply now. Look at that, 107.
And Ghost joining the fray too. And without anything besides Storm for AoE, there's no Colossi on the field. If he lands those EMPs on those High Templars or even just snipes them, MC's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yes, he very well could be. Cloak is being built. That's actually pretty cool, considering there's only one observer on the map, and that's by the natural.
Another scan going down constantly. Oh, look at those High Templars.
Looking for High Templar, these Marauder
Look at
Marines.
them, look at them. These High Templars just kind of wander into YoDa here, land some storms. Oh, great. That was... Okay, MC kind of made a mistake there by wandering too far ahead with the High Templar, but very snap decision to go bam, bam, storm, storm, feedback, killing the Ghost. Very fast hands.
MC's got to be careful here. He's got a second Forge finishing up to go over towards 3-3 upgrades. He's currently about to finish with 2-2. But yeah, as you said, YoDa, if he hits these EMPs, man, 2 Widow Mines, get a couple of good detonations there on the left, and he's chasing forward.
That was a very aggressive link. Just lost a few of them. Decent storms.
But EMPs, and he catches the back end of that army. Doesn't really get to the High Templar.
There's lots of stims going down, and these storms kind of whiffing here.
There is not an observer with this army, and Cloak is only 30 seconds away.
And look at these upgrades for YoDa too. He's about to hit +2 armor, going for +3 attack. He's not slouching in any regard. This counter-attack could do a lot of damage though.
MC's got to be careful. Like you say, he's got a good counter-attack, but this army right now is actually moving towards the army of the Protoss, of the Terran player. He's got to be careful because the flick-back EMPs are going to be pretty strong, and then they can landed on his army, and at the same time he is counter-attacking and dealing with 2 armies at the same time, and he gets great storms in the middle line. And overall, look at that! He plows through the middle of that Terran army.
Bit of a misclick by YoDa, loaded up units into those medevacs during that fight. And look at the supply, Sean. 100 supply for YoDa, 140 for MC. There's damage being done from everywhere. Zealots joining the fray. Time warps going down, unnecessary, but the third being totally ransacked here.
Yeah, and the army as well. He's getting chased down by these Zealots. And MC, you could see his speed in that. Being able to do the counterattack and the main army fight at the same time is... It would have pushed YoDa back, and MC's Killer Instinct pushing him all the way to the natural here, putting the pressure onto the reinforcements. The third has been evacuated, and that's it. Wow, look at that. GG from MC.